It's showtime. It is the Jim Kleiber Show. Hey, today is Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. I think that means tomorrow is October. And fall is coming fast. So it's like the summer is just a little blip here in Michigan. Oh, man. You close your eyes and it's gone. What to talk about today? Yes, there were the presidential debates last night. If you missed it, I did a live impromptu show after the debates to reflect on what was going on. I had a little bit of rum and apple cider with me. It was pretty delicious. So I'm feeling it a little bit this morning. But yeah, I was talking with a few friends on Facebook and some more conservative friends, and a lot of people seemed, again, I think a lot of people seemed quite embarrassed by what happened in terms of the decorum, whether they were more conservative or more liberal, or just people who strongly supported Biden or people who strongly supported Trump. Many of us were just, I think we felt embarrassed by the lack of decorum, the lack of respect for each other. Personally, I think it came more from Trump than it did from the others, but overall, it didn't seem like a very smooth conversation. But on Facebook, I was responding to a couple comments, and one friend commented something. I responded to it. A friend of his, responded to it and said that Chris Wallace, the moderator, was being bad and biased, and then that Biden was being disrespectful, and then Trump was being Trump. And it really confused me. It was almost like Trump got a pass for being aggressive and disrespectful. And it's like, yeah, but that's just Trump. I mean, Biden, in a way, it made me think that maybe this person had higher expectations for Biden or higher expectations for Wallace, that they're supposed to be neutral. Like Wallace is supposed to be neutral and calm, and that Biden is supposed to be maybe calm as well. But Trump is a loudmouth, and he's allowed to be loud. I mean, that's who he is. And so maybe just accepting that Trump is this way, and then being frustrated that the others were acting out of character in some way. It really confused me. I mean, I tried to interact with the guy and ask why, but I just wonder, like, is it okay do some people accept this behavior of Trump because that's how he is? It may be just assuming that it's more authentic and having the expectation Trump is this way, and so that's how Trump is, and I accept that Trump is this way, versus other people when they start acting that way, getting breaking the expectation, breaking the mold, and therefore causing a lot of disconnection or trouble. I thought many years ago, this was probably 2010 or something, when I went to Kenya for some work in a conference. And I remember thinking that life is really just expectations. It's all about expectations. What we expect to happen, and then what happens, and whether what happens is in alignment with what we expected. And it seems to play in here again, this idea that how we expect someone to behave, and if they behave that way, it's okay, because we expect them to behave that way. But if we don't expect them to behave that way and they behave in a certain way, then we can get very frustrated or very, very upset or very confused or surprised, basically. We pay attention to it. What did I used to say? I used to say that life is all about expectations, and if something is sufficiently similar to our expectations, we don't even notice it. Or if it's too similar to our expectations, we don't notice it. If it's different from our expectations, we notice it. But if it's too different from our expectations, then we don't understand it. We notice it, but we don't understand it. So it has to be within a certain range of, like, it has to be different enough to notice it, but similar enough to understand it. For example, if we were watching the debate last night and everyone behaved in the way that we thought they would behave, maybe we don't even notice. It's just kind of boring television. So there's a certain idea of trying to be a little bit surprising and do something that people aren't expecting. So if they do something differently, then we notice it, right? So if Biden raises his voice, or Chris Wallace, the moderator, raises his voice, which he rarely does, and even mentioned when he did it, like, oh, I don't want to be raising my voice at you, I can't believe I'm raising my voice at you. And so I think that shocks many of us. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And we notice it. But if something like really different happened, like all of a sudden gravity disappeared and they all started floating, we'd be really, really confused and probably scared. Like, what the is going on? So having our expectations met, broken in a way, but not broken too much that we don't understand them. And perhaps people have different expectations of a Biden or of a Chris Wallace than they do of a Trump. I'm sure we all have different expectations on things, right? So I don't think that's too controversial to say. But yeah, I just think maybe people think his behavior and his style helps him get done the things that he's gotten done. And the guy responded, and he basically said something like, but Trump has done this, and Trump has done that, and Trump has done this, and Trump has done that. What has Biden done in the last 47 years? All these people in Washington are just sitting on their hands, these cronies. Yeah, if you want somebody who's a smooth talker, then you can get a smooth talker. And it really struck me. I was like, what? He's done all these things? I mean, okay, yeah, he's done some of those things that you've mentioned, maybe lowering drug prices for insulin, maybe. I mean, he put an executive order out there, and I was reading about it yesterday, put an executive order to lower the price of insulin for Medicare patients, not for everyone, but just for Medicare patients. And, but there was no timeline on it, or I think details on how it was going to happen. And perhaps he's, what else did he talk about? Oh, getting the other countries in NATO to pay their fair share. Maybe that one actually happened more. Prison reform. Yeah, I think he's made some strides on prison reform as well, to be fair. I think there are some areas where he has done some stuff. But I think what shocked me is this expectation this belief that people in Washington before didn't do anything, got like nothing done. And that Trump is coming in and getting all this stuff done. And I think for me, it hits hard, because I've noticed over the years in the work that I've done with innovation, with startups, just being around in life in general, but especially with innovation and startups. I worked at an innovation consulting firm in Michigan. And I remember one of my colleagues saying to me, or coworkers, if you're in the US, one of my coworkers saying to me that, he says, the thing here in Michigan is that you guys do wonderful things. He was from like the East Coast. He's like, y'all do wonderful things here in Michigan, but you have this kind of like engineering mindset where you don't tell anyone that you're doing these wonderful things. On the East Coast, man, people are talking about all the stuff they do. Oh my God. It's like they're talking about everything that they do. Whereas here, there's not that promotional culture, that self-promotional culture. And I remember him talking about that, and like the difference between, if something were to come out of the University of Michigan versus Harvard, and just how much press or promotion that it would get, even if it were this, the same thing. And it hit me more when I went out to California. So I was working on iFilio as a startup in 2000. At the end of 2013, I moved out to Oakland. So like 2014 mainly is when I was thinking about this. And I remember I had built this app. I built it on Android myself when I was living in Colorado. And then I found someone to basically duplicate the code or replicate the code onto the iPhone, the iOS system. And I had the app out there, and there weren't that many people using it. I think at one point it got up to like 500 users or so, or 500 downloads, which is quite small, but not that small. And I remember getting testimonials from people, and they're saying, like, wow, I used this for 3 weeks and it changed relationship with my mother, my ex-husband, and my estranged brother. What? Some people saying, wow, it finally got me to dig back into myself and go back into writing songs. And then the person started to perform songs. Another person telling me, wow, this really helps you be honest with yourself. I have another person tell me, she opened up the app and says, how do I feel? And she goes, cool. And then said, I think it was cool. And she's like, but cool's not a feeling. Oh, and like, so even before using the app, I had this realization that she's not very good at articulating how she feels with words. Boom, boom, boom. I had all these different testimonials within a few weeks or months, whatever. And I remember going to, I went to a bar with some of my friend and his friends. And one of his friends comes up to me and says like, oh, okay, so what do you do? I said, well, I built this app, I help people reflect on their emotions. He goes, oh, okay, is it on iOS? I said, yeah, it's on Android and iOS. I built it for Android and had someone do it on iPhone. He's like, oh, wow. And then he says, oh, like people using it and stuff? I said, yeah, this one person said changed the relationship with her mother, ex-husband, and brother. And this another person said this, another person said that. And he's like, wait, what? He says, do you know how many people come to San Francisco and get millions of dollars in funding and never even come up with a product? And you have a product on 2 platforms. He says, and then do you know how many of them who do come up with a product get tens of millions of dollars in funding and never get the testimonials you already have? And so I tell this story, and maybe I've told it before, but the reason I tell it now is because I am a person who has the bias for doing a lot of stuff and not telling people about it. And then people thinking I'm not doing anything. So when I'm in an environment like a San Francisco where there's this startup culture and there's all these people going around saying that they've saved the world and they're raising all this money and they don't even come up with a product, part of me really, really rolls my eyes. Like I get very annoyed by this, partially because I get very jealous that I wish I were better at telling people about the things that I've done. This is the 33 or 34th episode, if I count that last one, that I've done in the last, that'd be 7 weeks. Wow. See, I haven't even realized it. And most people who don't even have a podcast, who are thinking about starting a podcast, can go out there and get much more attention than I already have. And without even coming up with a podcast. They may have a title, they may have a name, and that's about it. They have a logo, and then they don't have a microphone, they don't know the systems for setting it up, they don't have a website, blah, blah, blah. And so I can get very, very frustrated with people who only do one side of that equation. The people who are out there who are saying they've done so much, I've done this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then when I actually look at it and go, but really? Have you really done any of that? Like, I just doubt that you've done nearly as much as you said you've done. Because again, I'm coming from the perspective that, I don't know. I focus on whether people have done stuff because I'm much more of the engineering type. I started school in electrical engineering. Then I switched to international studies or intercultural communications. But I originally started electrical engineering. I was very focused on the systems aspect of things and making things and getting things done, making sure that they worked. I mean, a lot of electrical engineering is dealing with circuits and wires and making sure that electricity flows. And if the circuit isn't closed, electricity does not flow. And even then, it may not flow. Got a comment. Earthworm Jim. Hey, good to see you, Mike. Yeah, so I can get really frustrated when someone's out there saying that they've done everything to change the world, but they haven't really done that much. The people I really admire, the ones I really admire, or rather the behavior I really admire, is the one who's out there saying how much that they've done and want to do and really promoting it, but also doing it. And I think it's rare to find these people. I mean, I think Elon Musk is quite close. I think he goes farther into the, I don't know, he does a lot of the promotion, but they actually get a lot of stuff done. I'd say he's a very big promoter, but he's also very good at getting the team to get stuff done when it comes to SpaceX and Tesla and stuff. Steve Jobs as well, I think, was very good at promoting and marketing and selling what they had and telling the world about what they had, but also making sure that it functioned very well and getting the underlying technology and systems to work. So I don't know. Maybe other people have a different perspective on this. Maybe other people are more of the promotional type and like the people who are also promoters, but aren't the more engineering type. I don't know. Like the people who like to sell the big idea but don't like the details. You know, it baffles me sometimes because I look at what people say Trump has done. And I'm like, Trump hasn't done that much at all. He's superficially done a lot. Like, for example, the thing with the insulin, putting an executive order that doesn't really have any teeth or deadline or plan or strategy for how to do it. But it looks like he did something. What else? Oh gosh, there's so many, like North Korea and did he really do much to resolve the situation in North Korea? I'm not sure. Did he really do much? In terms of bringing coal miners back? No, not really. Did he really do much to build a wall? I mean, he talked a big game when it came to building the wall. And there's still no wall. It's 4 years in. There's no wall. There's part of a wall, but it seems to be falling down or easily, people can go around it or go over it pretty easily. He's very, very good at promotion and selling the dream or selling the nightmare. I think they go hand in hand sometimes. And I like it when it's backed up. But when it's not backed up and it's just fluff, I can get so annoyed. And I say this because, I've known people in my life who are like this, who have this behavior. I started a company with a guy like this. And the guy sold us the dream. Everything is going great. Everything is absolutely perfect. We're doing this and this and this and this. Then all of a sudden the money disappeared. We didn't know where the money was going. And we asked him, oh, no, life is great. Everything is fantastic. Everything is fantastic, my friend. And like, okay. And then, boom, the money disappeared. And the company basically closed because we didn't have any money anymore. Turns out the guy was taking money. Like, on the surface, everything looked perfect and looked great. And as if so many things were happening. But below, it wasn't. And all I wanted was for him to be honest with me. Like, just tell me what's going on. Because if you don't tell me what's going on, I can't help you. If you're in financial trouble, I can help you. At that time, I had more money at the time. I'm like, I can help you in this situation. But instead, he portrayed as if everything were perfect. But underneath, it wasn't. And I see that behavior in Trump. This idea of promoting, but not actually doing the thing. Do it. Do it. Okay, if you're going to promote something, do it. Or more than anything, get the team to do it. Because it's impossible. If you're going out there and you're promoting all the time, you can't do it all the time. You don't have enough time to do things. Promotion takes a lot of time. So it's this, it reminds me of being a consulting firm. The partners would go out and they would sell the projects. They would do the promotion, promote, sell. And then they come back to us and say, okay, we need to build it. And, a lot of times I'd get frustrated because I'm like, why would you sell such a thing? We can't build that. And we definitely can't build that in that amount of time frame. You want us to get this website done in a week? That's impossible. What are you talking about? Why would you go sell that? And so like the engineer, builder, maybe designer in me can get really frustrated. Like, why? Why would you overhype this and over promote this? Now they have these super high expectations and we're not going to be able to match them. But I mean, like Elon Musk, he goes out and he promotes SpaceX, he promotes Tesla. We're going to Mars and we're going to have completely electrified cars and electrified world, really. Great. Fantastic. But then he goes back and it seems as if he works with his team to get some of this stuff done. He doesn't do nearly as much as he talks about, but he gets some of the stuff done. But like really done, not just like superficially done. But that's arguable, right? So my dad worked in GM for 40 something years. And I'm sure there are other engineers in the automotive industry who look at Tesla and go, yeah, it looks pretty, but does it really have the reliability underneath? Is it going to fall apart in 1 or 2 years? And how do you get fixed? What's the service for it? So, I mean, I think it's just a spectrum on how much we focus on kind of the reliability or the production versus the promotion of things. And I know I want to get better at the promotional side, but I think I love the production side so much that it's hard to go get better on the promotional side, because there's a part of me that's tearing itself apart when I go sell something that's a really big dream and then put the pressure on myself to build it. I'd rather build it and then sell it afterwards. But you know what? So I look at someone like Trump and I, in a way, admire his ability to promote things and to say this is the best thing ever. Admire it somewhat, because I think I don't admire how bombastic he is about things, about most things. But I really, really, really do not admire. I really get frustrated by how he doesn't follow up that promotion with getting stuff done. But you know what? There are a lot of people who believe he has got a lot of stuff done. He's very, very good at promoting what he's done. Very good at it. Oh, goodness. He's so good at telling the world how much he has done and how he's the greatest. He is his own hype man, for sure. Whereas many of us don't have hype men, but we do stuff. We do a lot of stuff. The world just doesn't know about it. So, again, it's I've fallen on the side of doing a lot more things and not telling people about it. And Trump seems to fall on the side of doing or telling people he's done a lot of things, but doing few things. And, I just wish other people would see that. Like, I just wish they would realize whether he's done that much. But then again, maybe they don't care so much about whether things have been done, but whether they look like they've been done. I know a lot of friends who are very frustrated with me for not telling people about what I've done and promoting it more. I've done this podcast, 34 episodes, 33 episodes. I did a 7-week book writing project, or a 5-week book writing project, 35 straight days. I still haven't put it out. I really haven't told too many people about it. So, if anything, in doing this podcast today, I've realized that I want to promote what I do more. Because when I don't promote what I do more, the people who do nothing but promote, who don't actually do stuff underneath, seem as if they're doing more than I am. And that frustrates the crap out of me. I hate when that happens. I hate when the people who are out there promoting that they've done so much in the world haven't done nearly as much as I've done. But they get all the press, they get all the attention. Oh, it frustrates me to no all. And so for me, when I look at somebody like Trump, it's that. It's like, wow. People saying, oh, Biden hasn't done anything in 47 years. Trump's done more in 4 years. And well, one, Trump has been president. Biden was vice president and senator and maybe a few other positions. Those positions don't have nearly as much power as the president does. And two, has Trump really done much, or has it seemed like he's done much? Executive orders that don't have much teeth and don't actually change the law, uh, short term or permanently, not really doing much. It looks as if he's doing much, but he's not really changing things too much. Um, like, for example, getting NATO to pay their fair share. Okay, fine. Getting other NATO countries to pay their fair share. How long does that last? Is it just an executive order? If it's an executive order, it could just disappear if Trump's not in office. So he didn't really change much. If he changed it while he's there, but he could have also changed other things. You know, he could have destroyed or started to deteriorate trust or to ruin trust with us and some of our allies in Europe. Is that worth the money that they're paying to NATO? Really? Is it? If they start saying, you know what, we don't really want to have American troops here, you know, we don't want you to have any American bases here. Actually, NATO's not a really good idea. I think we started NATO mostly on behalf of the US security. I mean, I think we have bases out there for American security more than anything. I think it benefits us more than it benefits some of them. So, you know, did he really do that much? You know, the guy mentioned, oh, Trump's been nominated 3 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm like, he's been nominated. He didn't win. And what's the nomination process? Who nominates? Well, how rigorous is it to get nominated? Who else has been nominated? I think I have a friend who's been nominated, right? Like, is it really that difficult to get nominated? I think it's still a big deal, but is it as big of a deal as winning? Right? So and even if someone won the Nobel Peace Prize, is it as big of a deal as, you know, as we think it is? Or is like doing the thing actually the big deal? I don't know. It can frustrate me so much. And so it frustrates me when people believe the hype that he's selling. But maybe it just says to me that I should start hyping myself more, and that other people like me who are out there doing things, if you're out there doing a lot of things and not telling people about it, there's a good chance that people are going to think that you're not doing that much and other people are doing more than you. If that doesn't motivate you and frustrate you, then I don't know what will. Because for all you builders out there, for all you creators and producers and designers and engineers who are making things, building things, making solutions, working with teams, building stuff, if you're not telling the world about it, or someone's not telling the world about it for you, then the people who are promoting themselves are going to probably get more attention, more money, more clout, and more trust than you are. And then we'll probably get into a point where we're just in a society where there's a lot of empty dreams and not kind of the solid foundations. Just to wrap it up, it reminds me of the conversation I had a couple days or weeks ago on the show, talking about how people can have their heads up in the clouds or heads like buried in the sand. How we can get so grounded in reality that we only focus on what's happening right in front of us and building the thing in front of us. And we forget to put our heads up in the clouds and to sell the dreams. But some people can get their heads so far up in the clouds that their feet come off the ground and they never get any traction. They never start making anything work. So I think it's a balance. And when I look at Trump, I see his head way up in the clouds and his feet aren't coming near the ground. But many people don't realize that his feet aren't on the ground because it looks like he's going places. And then when I look at myself and many other creators that I know, it's that we have our heads almost buried too far in the sand, that we're doing a lot of stuff, we're playing in the dirt, and most people don't see us, or they can't see us above the trees. So we have to almost be like a redwood, keep our feet planted firmly in the ground, but grow really tall so people can see us and see what we're doing. On that note, I'm going to finish this and go have some leftovers. Oh man, one of the benefits of being at home is some good food, man. Oh, good food. So I'm going to have some leftovers. And then I want to start promoting more, because if I don't promote what I'm doing more, then other people are going to promote their stuff even if they're not doing anything or doing very little. So on that note, have a good day today, and enjoy Hump Day.